Howdy partners, John Bowman here, and I'd like to tip my hat to you and share with you a story of something I just learned about recently, and I was excited about this, and maybe some of you will be too, especially if you like history and you like to be inspired by people doing things that others didn't think they can do. And I recently went to Oklahoma City and had the opportunity to eat at my brother's new restaurant named Lucille's in Mulholl, Oklahoma. I've never heard of it before, so maybe you haven't either. It's a little town and has a great history. I was fascinated by the story of Lucille and bought this book that I thought I'd share with you and read it to you actually if you want to hear about Lucille's story as well. And it's a great inspirational story about not letting people put limits on you, becoming everything God created you to be in Jesus' name. And it's called The Original Cowgirl, The Wild Adventures of Lucille Mulhall. And it's written by Heather Lang, and the illustrations are amazing by Suzanne Beakey. So I think I got her name right. But you could look at the illustrations of Lucille, and she said, Lucille wasn't like most girls in the 1890s. Instead of skipping with her mom's clothesline, she twirled it like a lasso. Whoosh, whoosh, snap. Lucille could rope a fence post in 3 seconds flat. Lucille's papa, Colonel Zach Mulhall, saw right away she could be a mighty fine ranch hand. Her mama did not. Roping and riding were not ladylike, and you could see the mom over here is not very happy about it, but Papa's pretty proud. Lucille didn't care about sewing or cooking or becoming a lady. Ladies rode side saddle, and riding side saddle was slower than a snail climbing a greased log. Lucille wore a split skirt, and she rode astride, just like the cowboys. By the time she was 10, Lucille was mending fences, training racehorses, and herding cattle. Lucille swung her lariat at jackrabbits and chickens. The family dogs had to watch their tails when Lucille was around. During the spring roundup, Lucille asked her papa, "When can I have my own herd?" "When you're old enough to rope and brand your own cattle," he said. Colonel Mulholl soon discovered she already could. And there's her brand on there, Lucille Mulhall. And she was only 7 years old at the time. Lucille's mama worried about her a lot. The pastures were filled with longhorns, wolves, and coyotes, so mean they could turn the strongest cowboy into buzzard food. Wild animals didn't scare Lucille. When a wolf was killing her calves, she rode out to search for him. She spotted a vicious varmint eating in the pasture and charged with her lariat swinging. Whoosh, whoosh, snap. The wolf put up a furious fight, but he was no match for Lucille. The only thing that scared Lucille was not being able to ride and rope. So she always hid her scrapes and bruises from her mama. One day she roped an unbroken horse in the pasture, and it pulled her clear out of her saddle. Tangled up in the lariat, Lucille bounced behind the galloping horse. Finally, she cut herself free. When Lucille was 13, her papa organized some rough riding and roping competitions for his cowboys. Lucky for Lucille, he invited her to come along. She stuck like a bird to her galloping pony, and with a gentle flick of her wrist, her rope sang for the crowd. Newspapers praised Lucille, the daring young girl who held the audience in a breathless spell and was the envy of half the men. Folks had never seen such a fearless girl. But Miss Mulholl decided it was time for Lucille to become a lady. She sent her to a boarding school in St. Louis. Sad and lonely, Lucille longed for her pony and prairie. At the end of the term, her papa welcomed her home with a beautiful 16-hand chestnut horse. Governor was smart and sweeter than a lump of sugar. Lucille knew right away she could train him to be a sensational trick horse. That summer, a committee invited Colonel Mulhall and his cowboys to entertain Vice President candidate Teddy Roosevelt in Oklahoma City. They asked if Lucille would show off her roping and riding skills. Mrs. Mulholl shook her head. "I don't wish my girls to be tomboys." The committee begged. It was unpatriotic to say no. Lucille pleaded. At last, Mrs. Mulholl agreed, but on one condition. It would be Lucille's last appearance. In front of 25,000 spectators, Lucille made the most of it. Roosevelt bowed to Lucille and told her she was as good as any of his Rough Riders. "Zach, before that girl dies or gets married or cuts up some other caper, you ought to put her on the stage and let the world see what she can do. She's simply great," Roosevelt insisted. Colonel Mulhall reckoned it's a fine idea, and Mrs. Mulhall couldn't stop them. Was the world ready for a girl cowboy? Traveling around the country, Lucille thrilled the crowds of her daring acts. From El Paso to St. Louis to New York, newspapers spread the word about Lucille Mulhall, the golden-haired gal who weighs only 90 pounds, but can break a bronco, lasso and brand a steer, and shoot a coyote at 50 yards. Some folks thought she was plumb crazy. In most states, women couldn't even vote or own property. She thought they were the crazy ones. "I feel sorry for the girls who have to attend so many teas and be indoors so much." Lucille raced against cowboys, rode wild broncos, and performed tricks with governors. She roped 5 galloping cowboys all at once. Reporters hounded her for interviews. "Aren't you afraid your horse will slip and fall?" a reporter asked. "Oh, I expect that," Lucille answered. "I'm not afraid of getting hurt." Lucille preferred to spend her time roping and riding and performing, not talking about it. When Lucille was 15, she entered her first professional steer roping competition. Some men laughed at her. A woman roping and tying 1,200-pound steers? Some made bets against her. No other woman had ever competed against men in professional steer roping contests. Lucille didn't give a lick about what people thought. She steadied her horse. The steer charged out of the pen. Lucille took off in hot pursuit, swinging her lariat. Her first throw landed over the steer's giant horns, but the rope broke and the steer escaped. Quick as a jackrabbit, she spun another rope. Whoosh, whoosh, snap. The loop settled around the beast's horns. Then she flipped him like a flapjack. In a flash, she jumped off her horse, and with 2 raps of a hooey, she tied the steer's feet, 29.5 seconds, faster than any of the men. Soon, Lucille broke the world record for steer roping. Cowboys and folks all over the world cheered for the woman who roped and rode better than men. Other folks still believed Lucille belonged in the home, not on a horse, but her home was always on a horse, with the sun on her cheeks, a lariat coiled in her hand, and the boundless Oklahoma prairie roaring out in front of her. I hope you liked it. What a great story, what a great book. And if you get a chance to go to Mulholl, Oklahoma, go by Lucille's. Lots of Harley Davidson motorcycle riders come by this place. It's historic, it's an amazing place to ride, and it's an amazing place to go. And you'll find incredible comfort food there. So thank you for listening, and God bless you.